All right, let's get right into it. We're going to take a look at what it really takes to power a nonprofit. But instead of just talking theory, we're going to dig into the raw week-by-week data from a local animal shelter to see the hidden engine that truly makes it all run. So let's start with this number, 2,805.5. That is the total number of hours volunteers gave to the Mountain Shelter in just 9 months. I mean, that's just a staggering figure. How in the world is that even possible for a small organization? Well, let's break down how they built this engine from the ground up. To really get the how, you first have to understand the why. This wasn't just random busy work. Every single one of those thousands of hours was guided by a really clear 4-part mission. The whole program was basically built on 4 key pillars. The first and most obvious one is animal welfare and adoption, getting the animals socialized and ready for their forever homes. The second was all about being cost-effective, supporting crucial outreach and big events without totally draining the budget. The third was operational support. That's the essential day-to-day stuff. And finally, and this is so important, building community engagement, turning supporters into active partners in the shelter's success. And this chart just brilliantly illustrates where the heart of the program was. A massive 82% of all volunteer time was spent directly on animal care. We're talking walking dogs, socializing cats, and just making sure the animals were happy, healthy, and adoptable. This kind of direct investment of time, it has a huge effect on reducing animal stress and, of course, boosting their chances of finding a home. So, how did they build this thing? A program this effective doesn't just pop up overnight. It literally started from scratch in the cold of late winter and had to build its foundation and its momentum really quickly.
From its official launch in late February, you can see the program just hit the ground running. You see these key moments where it totally leveled up. A huge event like the May open house brought in this massive burst of energy. And by June, they weren't just growing, they were getting smart, formalizing procedures to actually handle all that growth.
Okay, so with that solid foundation in place, the program's impact just began to accelerate dramatically. The work they did through the summer and into the fall is where you really see this volunteer engine kick into high gear. Just look at this incredible climb. By the end of June, they'd already logged almost 740 hours. But then, over just 2 summer months, that number more than doubled. And from August to November, it nearly doubled again. I mean, this isn't just growth. This is a program hitting a powerful, almost exponential rhythm. But, this brings up a pretty critical question. A couple of volunteers showing up here and there is one thing, but how do you possibly track thousands of hours from hundreds of different people, all doing dozens of different jobs? You absolutely have to have a system. And this was no guesswork. Every single week, the program coordinator went through this incredibly meticulous process. They were cross-referencing sign-in sheets, calendars, and little notes just to make sure every single contribution, from walking a dog to making a video, was accurately counted and honored. So as summer started to wind down, all of that well-tracked volunteer energy was channeled into a massive, focused campaign with one crystal-clear goal: get more animals adopted. This is where you see a really brilliant strategic shift. The daily, essential work, the backbone of the shelter, that kept going. But layered on top of all that was a new, high-impact campaign they called Adoption Autumn, which leaned heavily on volunteers for a huge surge in outreach, events, and promotion. And wow, did the volunteers respond. In just a single week in September, volunteers signed up for 25 shifts specifically for Adoption Autumn and other outreach efforts. That's a huge surge in activity, and it was all happening at the same time as the standard animal care shifts. And look at this is so cool. Volunteers brought their professional skills right to the table. This little note shows that the key promotional materials for the entire campaign were created by a volunteer graphic designer. That's a huge cost saving that lets resources go directly to animal care. But these reports are so much more than just data. They are filled with human stories. When you really look closely at the weekly notes, you find these amazing little details that reveal the real, human side of this whole incredible effort. You see families getting involved together, making volunteering a shared community activity and passing that value from one generation right to the next. You see the specific, tangible tasks that make a direct difference in an animal's comfort and their adoptability. A good grooming session can seriously change everything for a scared animal.
Volunteers even lent their creativity and their empathy to write these compelling adoption profiles for the animals, giving a voice to a dog named Buster and helping him find a family.
And you also get these authentic, human moments of just trying to manage a complex program. This little note, captured with a bit of humor, it shows you the real person behind the spreadsheet trying to make sense of it all.
And across these reports, one name, Melanie, just appears again and again. She's co-leading orientations, mentoring new volunteers, and contributing hours and hours of extra help. She's the perfect example of a core, super volunteer whose impact multiplies across the entire program.
In total, 221 unique individuals gave their time to the shelter during this period. So it wasn't just one person. It was a powerful community network, with each person contributing what they could.
And that brings us right back to our big number, 2,805.5 hours. It's not just a statistic anymore, is it? It's the sum of a designer creating a poster, a writer giving a dog a voice, and a mother and son showing up for their very first shift together. It's the engine that directly fuels more adoptions and a healthier bottom line.
It really makes you wonder, behind every organization out there doing good work, what hidden engine of passionate volunteers is making it all possible? And what can we learn from how they channel all that passion into real, measurable impact?